Welcome to the afternoon session. In the morning, we were talking about a lot of things. We were rapping, singing songs that a lot of people are not understanding, but now it's about time you get to understand. The best thing that I told you is that the bottom line of you understanding Socketaye is going through the documentation, number one. Number two, do as many projects around that concept as possible. That is when you'll know some of the things they keep repeating and you become an expert. It doesn't take me presenting a presentation here, doing a presentation here, giving you slides, and then you say you're an expert. No, that is the lie of the 21st century. It takes you to become an expert in an area when you keep practicing. It doesn't take a classroom. By the way, it doesn't take a classroom. It doesn't take writing notes. No. It takes your effort to make sure that you are an expert. Let it become part of your habit. Let it become muscle memory. You see? The best way that I know is through documentation. You're just entering into software engineering. You're a beginner. Even after graduation, you're still a beginner. You will start becoming an intermediate developer when you start handling heavy tasks. So by the time you become an intermediate, you should be having projects, meaningful projects around your belt. What I'm talking about is not the normal to-dos, it's not the portfolio. No, 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 no. I'm talking having a problem-solving perspective. Are you a problem solver? It takes practice and practice, doing projects and projects. Okay, you want ideas? Okay, no problem. Let me bring you ideas. One of my most starred repos, let me see, sort by stars. Actually, it's the most starred, is build your own X. Yeah, it is. I have a repo whereby you can just learn to build anything that you are thinking of. Let me think, sync. Let me sync this, update the branch because it has been updated ever since. Good. Now, if you want to build anything, come and learn. Take a path. For example, let us take a look, let us try to build something because things that you're seeing on the internet, you think that they were built by machines. No, 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 no. Even the AI that you're seeing today, it was built by human beings like me and you. Now, when you want to build something, for example, let us revolve around, let's say blockchain cryptocurrency that is, let's say a bot in Node.js. For me, I've created a Discord bot before, by the way, actually, for data structures. But let us take a different route today. Let's say we are creating, building a GitHub app. So let us see. How do you go about that? So there's an entire documentation. And when you follow closely, step by step, you're going to be taught how to. You're learning through a process. But first of all, before you use a language, make sure you understand the syntax. Make sure you understand everything that needs to be understood. These things, they take heart for you to be able to understand. It's not easy. That is why a lot of people are not able to do it. Let us take another example. For example, yeah, create a CLI tool. For me, I've done this a lot actually. Yeah. For you to be able to create a CLI tool, this is how. So let us just follow, for example, next, next, next. We want to see. So mkdir, cd that, then you create that, you create that. As you can see, npm init. This one is for initializing a Node.js environment, runtime environment. Yeah, it's not for initializing, it's not for initializing what? Express.js, no. Then you go next, you go next. I want to show you a place whereby, yeah, whenever you see something like this, that just know that thing is on you're building a script that is going to be executable. You see? Now, let us proceed. You can see this is another one here. You proceed, you proceed. When you see bin anywhere where you see bin, it means binary. And I learned this when I was working with the Rust programming language. So Rust and we have Haskell, they tend to work at the same level. When you work with the bin, that is binary, and then the other one is library. So library is something that compiles on the web. Binary is the one that works as a desktop environment or CLI. Let me share this URL. Build anything. This is how you can be able to become an expert. I've used this one a lot. I'm just giving you one of the secrets to move up the chain, up the food chain, because it tends to get interesting up there, by the way. For example, this is another one, build your own Redis. That is a very impressive challenge. How to build your own Redis in any programming. Do you know what Redis is? For those who don't know what Redis is, it's one thing that a lot of corporation, Google, Microsoft, they all using it. What is Redis exactly? I want to show you the magnitude of tools that are out here, even if you're going to vibe code, but you're going to understand the process of building. You can see it's an in-memory key value database used to distribute cache and blah, 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 blah. You see? So I've shared the repo. Just go through it in your own time, in your own interest. Just try and learn. Actually, I got inspired with this and I was able to build my own gaming engine just by what I was studying in here. Just apart from the game, I was able to come up with a gaming engine. I was able to build a physics engine because it was there inside. I was able to build a lot of things. So if I can, you also can do that. And I'm not 70 years old, so it didn't take me like forever, around 2 years, or even just take 6 months to 1 year. Come with the results. Yeah, it doesn't take a genius because it's all about process. Just have a process. Anyway, I'm talking a lot now. Class rules. Let me lock the chats so that we can go to focus. And then Angela's question, I'm going to answer that. I've not ignored it, by the way. I'm going to answer that. Anyway, now, in the morning, I've shared the recording in the same document that we are using for the morning session. And the afternoon session is being cooked as we speak now. The session is currently being recorded. Close some of the things here. Now, in the morning, we talked about Socket.io, a lot of gibberish here and there. We talked about a lot of things. People floated. People were confused. But all in all, we still keep pushing forward. Remember, Socket.io is just a tool that is being used out there. Now, let us take a look at creating something which is very impressive. We are going to create a group chat and allow me to also, I'm going to show you how to tunnel, or if time allows us, please, if time allows us, we are going to deploy it and then we are going to see how. We are going to see how to bring it around people using it. You see, that is what you're going to do. Now, we are going to create a group chat. This group chat is going to contain a couple of things. Three main things. Number one, chat rooms for people to chat. Number two, typing indicators. When you're on WhatsApp, you can see so-and-so is typing. We want to implement that. Number three, we want to check if somebody is online or offline. So we'll implement just basic authentication. For now, we are going to just register a user without a password. I don't want to enter into password gibberish. Just username for now, for a reason, for it to be easier, right? After that, we want to see how to do real-time messaging using Socket.io. And then MongoDB, of course, for storing data and user presence. And of course, the REST API on the Express is going to have three endpoints: room endpoint, user endpoint, message endpoints for querying. And then finally, we are going to see how Socket.io is being used for live typing and online tracking. Now, let me bring this one also, group chat. The usual, so mkdir, let me just expand this. So mkdir, we're talking about server. and then client. So we start with the server. We start with the server. The usual, we're using PNPM. Yeah, you are seeing the flow of the things. We tend to use PNPM a lot. This week's catch up, or the one that we did, I'm going to share it. Don't worry. Actually, I'll want to package another document that has all the repos that we have been doing so far, but that is going to come up later on. Now, let us proceed. Now, the backend, the usual thing that we have been doing. We are going to have our config folder for our DB, database modems for our database routes. We are going to have controllers, and then we are going to add something additional to the which is for sockets. The reason why we're separating these code bases is for easy debugging and easy workflow, and it is a good practice for even security. Then you can have our server.js, then you can conclude. So the usual thing, PNPM init. So that is it. So let me just open this there so that you can see how we are flowing. So we are starting with the server.js. So today I'm going to go faster so that I can have time to cover front end. Today I'm going to go faster. So because we have already done these things, I'm going to slow down a bit when it comes to socket.io. But on other parts, oh, I'm going to fly. I'm going to fly. So PNPM install Express. We have Mongoose as well. Then we have socket. Somebody's laughing. Socket.io. Then we have course. We have .env as well. So .env is normally for storing virtual secrets, blah, blah, blah. So you come with that. Socket.io is the new one that is going to come. Yeah, there you go. After that, so what you have just installed, these are called dependencies. These dependencies, they can also go to the production side. But if I don't want a dependency to go to the production because it's not going to be useful, I'm going to install it differently. For example, nodemon. I'm going to say save as dev. So it's going to save it as a developer dependency, which cannot go to production. Production, I mean when you deploy. Oh, yeah, it is PNPM add. Sorry. Wait. So let me just uninstall, because when you do install, they're going to go global. So uninstall. Thank you for that. You people are seeing ahead of me now. It is add. Because I was wondering, where is this coming from? Yet we already sorted that out. The dash to where that to came from, I was wondering, because we already installed it earlier. As you can see now, it is 0. We have uninstalled, but now it is 0 because of add. Now, if I don't want anything to come, if I don't want anything to be pushed to production, so PNPM add nodemon. Thank you so much. So nodemon, I want to save it as a developer dependency. So save dev, it is going to be put aside as a dev dependency. So this one is aside. When you come and check here, that is what the hell? Okay, no problem. But as you can check, we have developer dependency. The others, they are going to go. So don't worry if it is looking like this. I don't know why. But anyway, oh, we have to. Wait. Now I see where the issue is. This one was the one that came. Oh, I'm seeing where my errors are. You see, I'm installing them in the wrong place. Now remove. I'm installing them outside. Remove. Why is my head today? People, why is my head today? Remove. Is it complying? So remove. It's supposed to be inside here. I'm supposed to perform all of those commands inside here. So PNPM add, you're talking about Express. Sorry for that. We're talking about Mongoose. We're talking about socket IO. Then we're talking about course. Then we're talking about .env. Somebody's saying something there. Why don't you get log file? Because when you initialize, make sure you say pnpm init, not npm. So after doing that, run it. Let me check. Yeah, we are good. As you can see now, we are good. This is what I'm talking about. So this one is the dependencies that can go to production. Why am I wasting time on that? So we say pnpm add nodemon, save it as a developer dependency, so that you can be able to see something like that. This one cannot go to production. Now we are done with that. So after doing all of that, one more thing, you are supposed to configure your script so that they can be able to behave well. So when in a developer environment, for example, like right now, what you're doing here, I want when I say pnpm dev, run dev, nodemon should run. Server, we're talking about server.js, right? That is what I'm talking about. Then change the entry file. Very important for production environment. Then you're good. Now, let us start with the folders. Let us start with the folders. So the first folder is config. So when you have already been doing this, instead of creating new files over and over again that are repeating, just copy paste what you already have in other code bases. It is saving you a lot of time, such that you're going to be having uniform code bases all the way for the project that looks similar. Unless you're building to the web, the next time you're building mobile. But if you have db.js somewhere, there's no point of doing it over and over again. So you might as well just run through it. So let us just move through it. So Mongoose require. We're talking about Mongoose. I'm going to fly today. My flight is waiting now. Then we create our schema. So this is not a schema yet, but just connection. So connect DB. Today, let us try. It is normally a synchronous operation. We are going to try today and use the try catch block to make sure that we catch some few things here and there. Now, try catch block. Yep. Now, we are going to say await. So wait for Mongoose to connect. For Mongoose to connect. So it is going to run using process.env.mongo. Mongo URI, yeah? We are going to create this one. So let us create so that we don't confuse ourselves. So .env. We've already installed it. So Mongo URI. What are we talking about here? So we're talking about MongoDB. We are going to change this one when you go into production. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how. Talking about localhost port 27017. Call this one group DB. You're done. Now, if that is the case, we have connected successfully. We can have the usual things. So it is use what? So new URL parser, make it true, and then comma, then use unified topology. Oh, I have the speed because I've been doing this in hackathons, and you have few minutes to execute your code. And I've been coding even before this AI was there. So console, I'm not saying AI is bad, but AI is good to fast track your process. So MongoDB, just to make sure you don't make errors. So MongoDB connected. So when you're done with that, just throw an error if anything goes astray. So console.error. So we're talking about if it is not connected, so MongoDB. So in here, instead of using the try catch, you can use promises, by the way. Promises, you can be able to use it. Instead of using async connect, you can use promises, by the way. So connection, error. So what kind of error are we throwing here now? So you can just tell them, by the way, this is the kind of error. Throw it as a message. Yep. Now, what are we remaining with? So let us just kill the terminal. So if everything goes bad, just stop the terminal. You cannot continue running the terminal if everything is bad. After that, let us now export it. So module.exports. What am I talking about here? Module.exports, not model. Module. Now this is the difficulty of typing so fast. Connect. A while back, I was in an interview and I was told, please type, let us see your how many words you can type per minute. Actually, I was in an interview and I was told to do that. I don't remember the exact interview, but I was told, kindly type for us. We want to see how fast you can type. Yeah. It was an instructor position last year. Yeah, so I was told, type. I was typing fast. I don't know. I fall under what percentile? 50th percentile or 10th percentile? I don't remember. But it was gone now. Proceeding, models. So models. So for models, very small. We are going to have room model. We are going to have user model and message model. So have that in mind. So we start with user.js. Very simple. So usual thing. Or let me stop talking so that we can code. But this is fun, by the way. I don't know if you're enjoying. Okay. Let us create a schema. So let us call this schema user schema. User schema. And then we can say now use new mongoose dot schema. Don't say So we are going to only take the username. And for the username, let us have it of type string, the usual thing. It is a must for you to enter it, so it is required. So true. And then what can you say again? Let it be the unique identifier for now. Yeah. So unique, make it the unique identifier for now. And I think you're done with that. So we go the other one. Remember, I talked about user socket ID, right? So let us also demand the socket ID. So we're going to say socket ID, right? Have that as type. So what are we taking there? Strings only, because the ID can contain alphanumeric characters as well. Let us have, is the person online or not? Because you can either be online or offline if you're chatting with somebody in that context. So is online, typos, man, typos. So it can either be online or not. So you're going to use Boolean. Boolean. The default to start for, before you join a chat, you're not online, so it's false. And then after that, maybe or not, we can move on now to rubber stamp this thing and wrap it around something called timestamp. So we can put the timestamp. So this one is going to just come on top of everything and make sure that we have the timestamp of the user joining in or not. So let me just put some. Remember, this is just part of MongoDB, but I have never told you how to use it. Remember, I cannot tell you everything. So module dot exports. If I'm going faster, we have already done these things. That's why I'm going that fast, so that we don't miss the opportunity of actually testing this thing on our side. That is what I'm talking about here. So user schema. We are done. How many files? Now let us go to the next one, which is Roam. Yeah, Roam.js. I already have this thing there, so just copy and then come and say const. We're talking about Roam, right? So Roam schema equals to new goose dot schema. So when you're in a room, the room can have a name, right? That room can have a name, just like a group. A group can have a name. When you're chatting, that group has a name because of you want it to be identified, right? And that room, the name is required for that room, because how can you be able to have a room and the room doesn't have a name? So you need a room with a name. And it has to be unique. We cannot repeat over and over again and say that this room is the same as the other room. Same thing, WhatsApp cannot allow you to create rooms or chats with the same name, right? Of course, wrap it around the timestamp thingy. Timestamp. True. You're done. Then close there. Okay, we have a very vital issue here. This is not a full stop, this is a comma. Good. Okay, module dot exports. What are we exporting there now? The same thing, mongoose dot model. What are we talking about? Talking about this one, call this one a room. Under what schema? Room schema. We are done. How many files have we been able to create in a very short time? A lot. Now, let us proceed to the message. Message one now. Message. Because what are you doing in there? So you're chatting. So there are messages that are being streamed. So same thing, paste that one, come and say const. Call this one message schema. Then say new mongoose dot schema. We're talking about in a setting whereby you are chatting, there's a sender, there's the content that you're sending. So come and say sender. And then this one also is type. So this is now where the problem you're supposed to understand. The sender, instead of creating a sender out of nowhere, we are going to attach that sender, which is the user. But we are going to use the object ID. That is what we are going to use. I've already talked about this. So mongoose dot schema, and then we are going to set type dot object. It's normally dot object ID. Actually, I can be able to find it here or not. Object ID, yeah. So we are going to link. So why am I saying object ID? Whenever you create a database or a document inside MongoDB, it normally comes with something. So what does it come with? Let me just bring it here, strike a connection there. Bring any. Let me talk about bookstore. Doesn't have anything. Let us have dev task, have user. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Even if you're creating this one is by default coming. So this one can be the unique identifier to pull out the particular user. This is an ID that doesn't, it's not the same across the board. It's different from time to time. So we are going to be calling this one and saying, we want to use an ID, a user, but use the ID that we have already, that MongoDB is going to create for us. Okay, let that one rest. Now, let us proceed and say, okay, on top of that, we are referring to who? We are referring to the user because this is the user that we're talking about. So we're importing here, we are referring to the user. So that is what we are talking about referencing. I talked about that in week 1, if you have checked that video. In the chatting perspective, you also need a room. So type. And also we already have a room, by the way. So we have a room, so we come and say same thing. Mongoose dot schema dot types dot object ID. What are we referring to? Reference the room, just exactly how it is. So this one is room capital, this one here, and then user. Yeah, there you go. So it is important you are able to see the relationship between these schemas. Now, the content. You are chatting, but you cannot be chatting and then don't put content there. So we might as well just have a content there. So string. Of course, it's required. How can you be in a room and say you're not chatting? So we also need that. That is done. Of course, rapid it's time stamping. So time, not time series, time stamping. True. You're done. Module dot exports mongoose dot model. We're talking about message, referring to message schema. Good. So the database is now well set up. That is good. Now let us go to another one, which is routes. We need to establish routes. And in this case, we have a couple of routes. We are going to start with just basic authentication. And then from there, we go for the room and messaging. So we are going to be creating routes and controllers. So let me just routes. Yeah. And then we can have another one, which is controller. So the controller is now the logic. So we're going to be having all of these things hand in hand. So let us start with the route for basic authentication. Remember, authentication is just username, no password, right? So come and say username, or it is auth, right? You can put anything that you want, by the way. But for now, let us just have that. Very simple. We have Express in play, right? So from Express, what I want from it is something called router, a method called router. So that's why I'm borrowing it. So require Express.js. Now from Express, we can now come up and say, let us have router. So router require, you're requiring what? No, not require, because it's coming from Express, just say express.router. So there's that method that normally comes. Now, after that, we come and say, now, we are going to create a controller, right? So let us leave it at that for now, but because we need it, let us just might as well have it. So cost, let us say what kind of thing that we are going to import from the controller. So let us say register user controller, right? It is not done yet, but we are going to do it. So just keep the flow. And then you're going to say, actually, I can be able to create it from here. I can be able to say, come and say 1, 2, and then talk controllers. Then I can come and say auth controller. So after doing that, I can just control click, then create new file. It's going to create it inside here, but now I want it to be JS.js. But it has changed the imports, so let us just remove that. But I can still navigate there. Yeah, it doesn't have to put JS every time you're doing that. So after that, very simple. This one is very simple, but just straightforward because it's just going to handle the REST API. So to register a user, just go to this route called register. Yeah, then you're going to call what? Register user. Then you're done. After that, module dot exports, and then you're exporting what? Router. So you're done with that. Now, this controller that we're talking about, how can we be able to come up with the logic for registering the user? So it's going to be very simple. You're registering the user to save the user in the database, right? So first of all, call the database and say that I want to use something from here. I want to use the document that you have created. So what is that? 1, 2 model, talking about user. Yeah. So after calling it, you're going to just say exports. But there, in here, I can also just use exports if I want to. I can just use exports. Then I call dot router. Yeah. But sometimes I just want to use that when I'm doing big things. So register. Exactly what you're talking about here. So just copy this one, register user. So register user. Asynchronous operation because database is being involved. So sync, taking what requests, response. So in here we are saying from the user, what do I need from the user? I need the username. So we are going to package it as a prop that is going to be taken from the user. That's why I'm wrapping it that way. It's going to be part of what we are requesting from the body of the user. Then we are going to wrap around our logic with a try catch so that we can be able to handle errors. So what do we have inside here? So come and say let, okay, not all the time we use const, by the way, you can just use let, but just know whenever you're using let, it means that that thing can be able to be changed. Mutability and immutability. Remember that in web development? So I can just decide to use const or let. Nothing, but you have to understand why you're using let. This is when you want to change it later on if you want to. So let me use it because I know why. Await. So we are waiting for the user to be found. So we are finding one user, right? Dot. We are finding one user. So find one. So in the process of checking that user, we're going to say package that because it's coming from the front end. So after we have check the user. So let's say in the instance that the user is not there. So we come and say the user is not there. That's why you're putting exclamation. So if the user is not there, what are you doing? That's why I was using let, because it can be able to be changed right here. So if the user is not there, what can we be able to do? Let us create another user. So somebody is wondering, are you finding a user or registering? Now, this is where you register user. So user dot create, then user name. Now, are you understanding why I'm using let? So that if we are not able to find that user, so this logic makes sure that you cannot create a user if the user exists already. I'm avoiding the process whereby I can be able to create a user, then fetch a user. No. To avoid other things, just create logics that are way packed well. So I'm checking first if the user is existing. If it doesn't exist now, let us create it. That's why I'm using let. Now we are well informed. Now, if that is okay, let us now send data to the front end now to React. Send user. That is how you send data to the front end. Now, we are not done yet. What if we have an error? So our status code, where are you? Our status code. So we are throwing status code 500 in a JSON format way. And then in that JSON, we can just say error, because that is what you're passing here. So error, then error dot give it a message. So it's going to be verbose. Something about verbosity is just like magnifying something to check more of what is happening under the hood. So we are done with that logic for authentication. How about the rooms? Yeah, how about the rooms? So we start with the route. Yeah, we can start with the route, or let us start with the controller so that we can be able to manage it well. So room controller dot JS. You see, what am I doing? Creating folder instead of a file. So room controller.js. Now, in here, it should be quite easy. So we are taking room directly from where? Remember these things I have in mind, because you can see here, we are saying room, capitalize. So room require, so model slash room. Now, in here, export. So we have to perform two things. The same thing that I did here, this is one method of checking if it exists. I'm going to show you another method, long one, but okay. So exports. Sometimes you have to confuse your hackers. Don't just do the same code base everywhere, even if you're doing if else. Try to do something else that is going to make people, okay, what are you talking about now? Somebody saying export, where is it? So exports. Don't know what you're talking about, Dennis. Okay, where am I going wrong? Or saying export or export? Anyway, let us proceed. You're going to find out the error later on if there's one. So get, first of all, let us fetch all the rooms if they are there. Because the database involved, request, respond. Uh, the usual. Now, fetch all the rooms, saying rooms. Wait for us to fetch everything. So room, because there are many, we say find. That's how we do it. Because there are many. If it is one, find one. Then return everything to the front end if they are there. Now, this one is not exactly the same as register that we did there, but it's another way of checking first if they, because it's a controller that's going to carry everything about the room. So the next one, dot create room. So yes, we can fetch, but also let us create rooms. These are just logics that we are writing. So synchronous operation, because database is being involved. Now, from here, you can be able to say, now, from what the user is giving there in the front end, is giving what? The name of the room. But now we are taking that request.body. That is what we are taking from the user. That line means that That is what we are taking from the user. So try catch block as usual, then come and say const room. So we wait for that room to be done what to be created. So we come and say room dot create. So we are creating it, but directly from the user side, from the client side. If everything goes well, save that and then package it and send it back to the user. If everything goes wrong, our usual status code 500, and then throw a JSON there, with an error, come and say error dot message. We are done. So we are done with that. So that is the controller. How about the route for that? Just to wrap it up. So we can come and say room routes.js because we have so many routes there. So in here we can just everything that I was doing here. Let me just copy. We are dealing with this, so we are dealing with the router, and then we can come and say const. We are dealing with a few things, a few routers. So get room, and then we are dealing with create room. Somebody's head is aching. Don't worry, I'm going faster. Even I've not even touched this. I've not even scratched the surface of what we want to cover today because I want us to actually see what we can be able to do in the shortest time possible. So controller, controller slash talk about room controller, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. So for this one, we're dealing with the two routes, right? So router dot. So for you to fetch all the rooms, you need get request. So we paste it directly here and then come and say get rooms. It's going to fetch all the rooms and display that. And then the other one dot post because we have to create a room. That one is going to go directly also and say create room. Done. After that, module dot exports. And then we can come and say exporting what? Router. People, we have done all of that. Let us do the final for message, and then we can see socket IO, then server, then we can jump in the front end, almost at the top of the hour. Now, let us do controller. Controller. Right now, somebody cannot tell me they are beginners. I'm going to laugh at you because you are not making progress on yourself. Beginners, you can say I'm a beginner in Manstack when you're still in week 1. That is what I can consider a beginner. If you're still a beginner and we're in week 5, you're going to continue saying I'm a beginner until you graduate. I'm still a beginner until you go and find a job. I'm still a beginner. You're given a job. I'm still a beginner. You're never going to grow. Please document your journey as you learn, as you struggle, as you learn, because it is not easy. Yeah, it is not easy. Oh, Angela, I saw your question. I've not ignored it. I said I'll answer it. Don't worry. Don't worry. They are in the Q&A. I'm seeing them. I saw them actually were the first one to post. Now, going for the message controller. So, if you still call yourself a beginner, you are undermining yourself because you're not making progress. Let me just call a spade because if I carry you as a child for so long, you're never going to learn how to walk. So, model, or am I lying? You see, sometimes you have to take it hard. I know you're going to call yourself a beginner because you're not finding time to do research, because the instructor doesn't give you everything. Actually, you're going to find out that we never give out everything. Even if I'm paid 1,000 hours, I can teach you what I know. Yeah. But somebody else is going to teach you what I've not taught you. That is what your own research. If I'm making you feel bad, sorry. But my intention is not to hurt your feelings, just to tell you the truth. So where do we fetch the message? So first of all, we fetch the messages if they are there because we are getting the messages, right? So I wait for us to fetch all the messages. So this one is a controller, right? And the purpose of fetching Remember, the data is going to be posted. We cannot create data here. We are just, our purpose is to create, is to fetch messages that the user is creating from the front end. We are going to see how. Now, so message.find, because there are going to be many messages, right? But now they have to be they have to be room specific. So we are going to use something called route parameters that I was talking about. So room specific, you're going to say request dot params. Yeah, the nightmare is coming back dot room ID. So it's going to be any room. So we have to be room specific. Where does this message come from? You see, you have to attach a message to a room. So after that, we want to populate the sender, the username, by the way, the username of the sender, and we want to sort them in an orderly way. So I'm going to show you how you do ascending order and descending order, and you're going to actually relate to that. So you're going to say dot populate. Actually, I can just come here and say dot populate, but good practice tells me just put it here, populate. Dot populate. So I'm going to say sender, and then I'm going to say username. And then after that, I'm going to say dot sort. So I'm going to sort it in a way that you're going to see. I want you to tell me what kind of sorting is this? Is it ascending or descending? So created at. Then I put one. Let me open the Newsmakers platform. I want to tell me, is this ascending or descending? Is it ascending or descending? Milton ascending, you have T ascending, Juguna ascending, Paul ascending, 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 ascending. You know, it begs this question or this challenge whereby you have seen these memes whereby does the what increase or decrease? Creasing, creasing. So people are going to say creasing or so room ID. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for checking that for me. So descending, yeah, thank you, Ajay. So because when you say descending, it's now put -1. Ascending is now 1. You see, creases, yeah. So you can just come and say sending, sending. Now, thank you for that. Let us proceed. I can see you're still in class. Now, thank you. Who was Favor? Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Uh, reply to this person. Okay, let us proceed. Thank you for that. It's supposed to be room ID, the way we have done it. Why? Somebody might ask. Favor was very careful checking. Where is it? Did I put it here? Not yet, but this is how you do room ID. Where is it actually? You're at the messages, right? So good. Let us proceed. Now, we have done room, we have done for messages, but we are not yet there. So when everything goes well, you're supposed to respond by returning the messages to the user on the front end. So that is done and dusted. So messages actually, quick fix messages. Now we are done with that. Let us do the route for that. So it is called message routes, messages. So message routes, .js. Very simple. So same thing. Where is it? I copied, yeah, there. Then you come and say const get room, those room messages, right? Let me check. Yeah, here it is. So get room messages. We are fetching it directly there, so require uh, controller. We're talking about message controller, and then you come and say router dot. So it is fetching, so get. But remember, I told you this is all about route parameter, right? So you come and say slash, and then put room ID, room ID. So after that, we can come and say get room messages. Just like that, we are done. And then we export. So module dot exports, and then we just export the router. Ladies and gentlemen, we are one step away. Let us jump into the second last part or the second last bit of. It's going to be long, but this is now where I want your focus because all of what you have been doing here is exactly the same thing. But now, please, I beg your attention. It's about time for you to listen in. Yeah, this is what we've been doing all along. Express. We have done this for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. Let us now see one thing that we have not done that is going to amount to why we are in this class today. So let us have this one. This is where socket IO is going to have an entry point. Now we want to create a real-time connection now, real-time communication. So we come and say, import everything from the database. We are going to start with that. Because we are communicating to save where? We are communicating so that it can be saved in the database. Now we come and say, I want to model, talk about messages, right? Let me just cross-check that. Yeah, message. Now, another thing you're talking about is user require. Now, what the hell is wrong with me? Want to model user. Good. So we have imported. So follow step by step what I'm doing. You want to do socket IO in the backend, but I want to do it in a way that I export it once and for all. So how do I do that? Now watch. After doing this, it is going to be very imperative for you to actually be doing it over and over again. Don't worry. Everything you're going to see how it flows. So module dot export. So I can be able to do this, remember. I'm just trying to confuse hackers so that they don't know my next move. So now let us start. Now it begins. Where do we start? We start by making sure that the connection is fired up. So you start making sure that the connection is fired up. So that is what you're going to wrap around. So come and say connection. That's an event, by the way. And then what are we taking? We're taking socket from the front end and connecting it on the back end. Now, we start by putting it on the console log and saying, just to confirm that everything works, by the way, that is the purpose of console log. You log your sessions and making sure that everything is well. Now, socket can come and say socket connected. But it's connected by what? Remember socket that we're talking about here? So it's going to be uh, put here. You're going to say, what is wrong with the, yep, not full stop, comma, man, dot ID. Yeah, so we want to log all the connection by the ID. So I start now, I come and say, let us now create socket for joining a room. So we are going to take a user, the username, and then connect it and put the online that when you join a room, the username is going to be there, the socket ID is going to be there, and you're going to be noted that you are online. After that, now we are going to tell everybody that you have joined. You see, then we can be able to see how you are typing. When you stop typing, we stop typing. Then we can be able to send a message and other people are going to see it. So we are going to emit a message inside that room. You're going to send a message only to that room. Then you can disconnect. I've just given you a flow of what I want to do, by the way. So you join, everything is logged, how you have joined. Then we tell people that you have joined. And then we can see you typing. Then when you stop typing, we can now see now you're not typing. But then that's how WhatsApp works. Then we can send a message and everybody's going to see, and then we can finally disconnect if you want to. So how does that come around? Now, let us see. Socket dot on. Then you come and say, let us create an event whereby it's called join room. So join room is an asynchronous Y because the database is involved. So this one doesn't take request response. No, 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 no. Doesn't do that. It's going to take exactly from the user, what the user is giving. It's giving what? We have the username and the room ID. Those two things, right? So after that, what next? Actually, it is here. I'm almost too confused here, by the way. Sometimes. Now, we come and say, const. We have to find that user, by the way, that we are talking about. So we have to find that user and update. So we find that, by the way, when you join, we want to update your database. So we want to find the user and update. So user, then await equals to await. So user dot find by, you're finding by what? Find one, where is it? Find one and update that one. So you find that particular user and update. Yeah, that's simple. But now, what are you updating exactly? So you're updating what? With the username? You're updating that user with the username, number one. Number two, you're updating to put what? Socket ID. So that socket ID, what is it exactly? The socket dot ID that you're talking about. That is seen on the console log, right? But now, at the same time, we want to make sure that we switch. Remember what I told you about user? The is online is normally false by default. So we want to toggle when you join a room, you are now online. Are you getting the picture now what I'm talking about? So we come and say is online. We now toggle it to make sure that it is now live. You are now online. We cannot be able to see because we are not going to see unless you're using GB WhatsApp. We are not going to see you unless you switch off your location. You are online. Like I'm not online. Now, somebody's saying something here. Somebody saying room.id. Are you sure? No, it is room ID. Why? Let me bring you back here. Is it not models, controllers? This is what I'm talking about here. It is not room.id that we're talking about. It is not room.id. Even if you come here, you're not going to find ID. It's only a name. So room ID is what you are creating, and it's coming from socket.io. So let us proceed. Where is that? Is that boy? Is that boy index here? Now let us proceed. After that, now we strike an update to say now a new info is being updated. So we are done with that. Very careful on how you work around here, because one step mistake, everything goes down. So even indentation you should be very careful. We are still joining a room, by the way. So after joining a room, when joining a room, these are the things that are happening. So after you have joined a room, like after the user has been updated, what next? Now let us join a room. So socket.join. But we are joining using room, what? Room ID. Is that ID. That is what we are joining with. So after joining, what next? We are now announcing our presence. So IO, we are broadcasting to. Remember, I already told you. So to that particular room ID, that is number one. But now emit. But now when we're emitting, we're emitting without you. You are not going to get the message. Only those people who are in the room are going to see Angela joined, John joined. You see? Ashford joined. Like nobody's going to, you are not going to see it yourself. Other people are going to see. So that is what we want to achieve. Now, someone say, user joined. So now user joined. So what kind of user joined? So we want the user itself and the room ID. So that is what we are banking on, user and then room ID. Yep. So after that, let us see something. Let us just mention this one and say typing. So how do you see somebody typing? After you've joined the room, how do you see somebody typing? So socket.on. So the event is called typing, right? So how do you see somebody typing? So this one doesn't take any parameter. And then what you're going to say is, let me think. So socket dot to, you're supposed to emit it to other people that you are typing. You cannot see yourself typing. Yeah, that is erroneous. You cannot see yourself typing because you're typing. So room ID, then you emit to other people for them to see. But remember, this one is global. This one is global, but this one is particularly. It is global, but was to that room, everybody in that room. Also this one because it is wrapped around there. So we're in that room. So we can just come and say typing. Don't worry, you're going to see the other version of this on the front, and then I'm going to be amazed. Oh, so this is how it is implemented. So let me rush. Let me rush. So after that, typing. You are typing, right? Let us see you stop typing. When you stop typing, what happens? So when you stop typing, you can just come and say dot on. Then we call this one stop. Stop typing. Right? Then we can come and say, see, I'm trying to flow here to make sure that I put everything in place as it is. When you stop typing, the same thing appears, but now we stop typing. So you can just copy this, but you're going to change something there and say room ID. Let's copy this one and say stop typing. Yeah, so exactly the same thing. Now that is for typing. Now, how about sending a message? So send message. So how do you send a message? So socket dot on. We create an event called send message, just like we did in the morning. Asynchronous operation because it is going to the database. That's why we're using async. So what are we carrying from the user? We are carrying the data. So that is what we goes to the database. So first of all, let us create it. So we come and say const message. So how do you create a message? You wait for the user to create a message. So message dot create. So what are we creating? What has to be created is the sender. So the sender is going to be the user dot underscore ID. So by now, when you create a user and the user goes to the database, the ID is what you're going to match with the sender. Remember what I talked about message here? Line 4. That is exactly what I'm talking now. That is what I'm saying now. This here. So sender is going to be the user ID. And I talked about object ID referencing the user as what? As this what you're seeing in line 1. That is what I talked about. I hope now you are now in sync well. Now let us proceed. So that is the user ID. Number 2, we need the room. So room, talking about what? Room ID. Because that one goes to the database now. And then we're talking about what? Content. So content. So room, that is what you're seeing there. So content. Where does content, what is going on here? This one is this one here. Yeah. Now content, where is content coming from? The data from the user that we're talking about here. That is what we are going to have as our content. Then we close. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. So we are supposed to have that full message package and populate it for the sender and then emit it to everybody. Everybody now is going to see the message, whereby you're going to have the user, the ID for the room, and also the data or the message that the person is sending. So full message. So full message package, of course, from the database. So message dot populate. Populating from the database. But this one is already on the logic side, so not the database. Uh, so sender, and then we have the username. I think I feel that like I'm repeating myself somewhere here, but okay, we'll see. Two, we are broadcasting through what? Room ID, but to everybody. So emit under what? New message. Remember, we are meeting under what? New message that is coming in, denoting it as full message. We are done. So let us disconnect. After chatting, we can now disconnect. You can now peacefully disconnect, but you disconnect under the connection. That's why you can see I'm still under the connection. So that's why I'm disconnecting within. So disconnect. So socket dot on. You cannot disconnect outside. Disconnect. For this connection, of course, I saying come and say don't take anything. So we come and say const offline user. So when the user is offline, so we are considering that user as offline user. So how do we check? So first of all, we check in the database so await user dot find one and update. So remember there is online. We are supposed to change that one. So find one and update. So how do you update? So you come and say, remember the socket ID. So we now log off everything. So socket under socket ID, socket.id. Don't know who is making noise there. I hope the noise is not bothering you, but let's just proceed. So it's online that we talked about. So we now change it from true to false. For those who don't know, this is where is it? Yeah, here it is. So we turned it when you join the room, you say now I'm online. Now when you are disconnected, you are offline. That's why you're saying offline user. So you're supposed to be offline. So how do you see that? So after that, I think you're done. Now emit to see and tell people that so-and-so is now offline. So io.emit, call that user offline under what? So that event is under offline user.name. So it's going to tag you. Good. Now we are already done. So close this one, close this one, close this one, and then close this one. We are done. How many lines? 49 lines of code. Amazing, right? Go and study this one at your own time. You're going to be so shocked on how we can go to achieve such thing. Now, we have done everything, but now let us conclude everything by saying, now converge everything and say, under server.js, not server.js. Now, this one is going to have a lot of things. So require .env config, it's a function. Then the const express, I thought I copied it. So equals to require. Now let us fly. Require express. Yeah, we are concluding backend. Then we jump on the front end really quick. Then we call it a session. Const HTTP. Remember, I told you it is directly picking it from raw HTTP. Require HTTP. And then we can come and say, let us have the course. Remember the cross origin. It's normally the course. What am I doing? The course. Then what are we remaining? So connect DB. Connect DB. Yeah, it is. This is why I bring the connection for the database. Then that one is required. We are bringing it directly from where? Config DB, right? Yeah, there you go. And then you can set the const. So this one is now where we are saying server. So this one is coming from socket.io. It means I'm tired. When I start making some silly typos here. Now that is the import. Now let us start the app, Express. Then we come and say on server. So this one is going to say HTTP dot get server. It's normally there. So we wrap that up inside there. After that, what next? So we take across origin. This is why I told you in the morning that when using course, you can specifically say, I want so and so to be accessible directly via. So const IO, come and say new server. Yeah. Then give me about server. Okay, yeah, I think I'm okay. Then you come and say course. So the origin that you're taking here. So origin. Normally, we can take the front end for now. You can say local host. It's normally 5173, right? Yeah, I'm very sure because it is Vite. It is Vite 5173. We are done with that. And then we close. So that one is going to allow only 5173 to be able to be accessible on the backend. Now, how about Socket.io? Socket.io itself, how about it? So you can come and say, just bring it, by the way. We have already done it, right? So just simply, in a very shortcut way, just come and call it. It is index socket or what? Yeah. Why am I not bringing out the other one? So the reason why I'm not calling index, this is thing is being placed something in a barrel file. This is a barrel file. Index.something is normally a barrel file or barrel. Now, when I do this, when you hover, you can be able to see socket at the end there, far right, socket slash index. So that's why I'm not going to say yes slash index. No, it is in a barrel file already. So there's no need of bringing it out. So that is socket.io. How about the middlewares? So middleware, for you to handle the middleware, so app.use, the usual one, so course. We are saying course is a middleware so that we give it a title of our security officer dot use. Then the other one is express dot JSON. We allow JSON to be accessible by Express. And then now you can bring the routes. You can see the benefits of putting things outside. So app dot use. So this one you can just come and say API slash auth. Require do it once, then copy routes slash talk about auth, right? So let me copy that there. So we come and change this one here and say this one is rooms, and then this one is message, and then this one is messages, and then this one you can be able to come and say something like room. It's normally room box, and then this one is message routes. Yeah, we are done with that. Now let us start the DB. So to start the DB, you can say DB and start just like that. Just call that function connect DB, and then const port. So process.env.port, or if it doesn't work, just do port 5000. Yeah. Now this port, you can just bring it here and put it here and say this one is 5000. We are done. So let us fire up everything. We come and say server. Now this is where I wanted you people to see. So listen. Port. So console.log You come and say server is running on HTTP localhost. Talking about port. What kind of port? Template literal. There you go. Now everything is up and running. Close the loop there. So when you come and fire this one, for you to make sure that everything works, so pnpm run dev, everything should work by the way. Okay, we have an issue, a very grave one, and I saw that coming. It's routes, supposed to be routes. Yep. So everything is up and running as you can see. Yep. Some people have been texting me the errors. Let us see. Let us see. Mhm. Because we are in local environment. Let me mute this till I'm done with class. Thank you for that, David and Solaja. Now, let us proceed. That is backend. We have done a lot, man. We have done a lot. Let us now jump on the front end. Let us jump on the front end and just do this thing, man. Now, on the front end, call it from there, cd client. Mhm. Now, we come back here, just close everything. So our server is running. Let's now implement everything on the front end. So how do you do front end implementation? That one should not be hard, by the way. Come and just say npm create void at latest. I think why people are failing a lot is because they are following what AI was doing. When you tag it as latest, it's going to bring in the latest. When you just say void, it is going to work for you. When I just remove this tag, this is at latest is tagging. Just like when saying at latest version 7.0.9. I'm tagging a specific version of Vite. So when I say at latest, I'm targeting a latest version. So currently, the current directory, template, React, that is what I'm targeting. Hit enter, everything is done. npm install as per requested there. So everything should be already there by there. I'm not downloading anything new, as you can see. That is the perks of using pnpm. Now, pnpm add Axios, socket.io, but this one is the client one, right? Only two things, by the way. So that is done. Nothing is downloaded. So my node modules are not going to be heavy. Uh, so after that, let us navigate and take a look at how Tailwind is being installed. And the best way is, I think when you go to shardcn, they have done it great. The same thing actually. pnpm add blah blah, same thing as you can be able to see here. Yeah. So we just copy that. This one is version 4. So I want you people to see that my Tailwind is not going to fail. It's not a matter of what right or what. No, 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 no. It is going to just work. So after doing that, what is the next step? Just follow documentation, by the way. Copy this. Documentation is there for a reason. So Vite, go to Vite, the third line, put it there, and then make sure you put this one here. Just a comma, and that is it. I don't think anything else is done, but you just come and copy this guy and put it inside index. Index dot, just remove everything and they put it there. We don't need this, by the way. Delete. Yeah, you're done. By the way, you're done now. Everything is okay. Now, it's all about now start running with Tailwind from now because everything now works on Tailwind. Yeah. Now let us proceed and take a look at the other parts. So the other part is now creating something called API.js, a part which is going to bring the backend and front end together. So for you to do that, it's via Access. So Access is for API communication. Socket IO is a different thing, so don't confuse. Otherwise, you can just bring all of them together if you want to in a one file. And then you can come and say const API. So call this API and you can come and say, let me see, let me think. You can come and say API base URL. Yeah, you can just API base URL. Then you can come and say HTTP running on port 5000. I'm just trying to show you a better way of bringing everything together. Yeah, exactly. So this one is the base URL. Let me just call it base URL. Let me just call it base URL. For those people who are not going to understand. Or I can just say, let me just call it backend base URL so that you can be able to understand. It's not API base URL for a reason. I'm going to show you why. So when I come here and say const, I want to create the API now. So the API layer. So might as well just bring the, let us rename this and call this one, what name? Let me think. Uh, call it what? Back, backend integration, right? And then this one is supposed to be in a folder called services. So bring it here and drag it, put it there. So API, I'm calling it backend integration because I want to put WebSocket IO and everything there. Just hold on for a short. Okay, let us proceed. Sorry for that. So API, then we want now to create it around that. So axios.create. So we want to create an API around that. We come and say, so we come and say base API. Let us just say base URL. Don't confuse backend base URL because it's general on this one. Why is that possible? Why is that the case? So this is the base URL entirely, but I can be able to create another one here. Just say API base URL. Why am I doing so? Let me just show you in a bit. So this one has a slash of API. This one accesses the entire backend. This one accesses the backend plus the API side of it. So when I'm calling this one, I might as well just piggyback and say API base URL. You're done. That's how you can be able to do it. Uh, from there, let us just continue. Let us just continue. I want to do export. Follow me closely. So export, by the way, it's just a matter of confusing people instead of export register. So we want to register what? Register a user. So for you to register a user, so we are bringing now the connection from the backend. So register user, what is needed? Remember what I told you is going to be passed as a prop, username. And then, um, should I put it or not? Let me not, by the way. Let me not put it, by the way. You are wondering, what are you talking about, man? So when I bring this API, I'm going to say API dot post. Um, some people are expecting curly braces. Not a must, by the way. Confuse your hackers. Say auth slash register. Then remember what we talked about, passing it as a prop. That's how we do it. Now you are able now to connect exactly the front end and the back end. You are now able to do that in a very, very secure way. You see? So what am I missing? So that is for register. Let's now take a look at get room, create room, and messages. Because what you're following closely is when you go to the backend, just take a look at what the routes have. We have authentication. That is what you're seeing there. We have messages we are going to create. We have rooms, we are going to create that. This is where you throw to the front end, and this is where you bring it, you catch it from the front end. You see? It is not that hard as you may think. It is not that hard. That is where people get confused on how do you connect backend from front end. Now I'm showing you. It is all about routes. It is all about routes. Now let us proceed. That is for authentication. Let us export another one. We say export const get rooms. We are talking about what? So here doesn't take anything because when you're creating a room, so API dot get, yeah, because you're fetching a room, right? So get is supposed to be slash rooms. We're getting rooms in room. That is done. Then we do another one const uh, get room. Then you come and say that room has to have a name. But I'm very surprised why they are deprecating this. Why are they doing that? But anyway, it can work. It is deprecated, but it's usable. Now, why am I confused here? Sorry. API dot post. It's not a must to use those curly braces. Just understand your programming by the way. There's a lot that you don't know that you don't know. So this one, because it took that as a prop, is going to carry that all the way. So that is done. How about let us export for the messages? Then I'm going to conclude by exporting the one for what? For socket, WebSockets, or Socket IO, because I want all of them together. So for API, which is CRUD operation, which is posting, which is all about what you're doing here, it is going to use this. That is why you are seeing API taking from here. This one is going to be for WebSockets, which is general. Now, const get messages, by the way. I remember that vividly. Then room ID. Room ID, then come and say API dot get. So this one is going to be different. Remember I talked about route parameters, right? So in the front end side, they are going to appear as template literals like this, room ID. Because room ID can be anything. That is why we don't want to put anything just. Now, let me just do it like this. Simple. So we have that one, this one categorized well. Let's do another one for sockets, which is export const socket. So for socket, it's going to be a bit different. So for me, I've decided instead of, I can just have services for WebSockets. I can have services for getting room, for rooms. I can have services for get message. For messages, I can have services for authentication. But instead of that, because of time, let me just junk it all of them together in one file. But in future, if you attempt to scale up, don't put them in one file. By now, you already know why I'm telling you this. Now, what you're seeing here, this one is going to take what? It's going to take the base URL, backend base URL. You put it inside here. That is the first step. The second step, we want the auto connection to be false. We don't want it to auto connect automatically. So we want us to be able to trigger that connection. So auto connect. So you come and say auto connect, just toggle it as false, right? And you're done. But we are not done yet because this IO is not recognized. So how do you bring it? We have the front-end version. So import what? So we're importing IO from where? From socket client. That is done. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have been able to bring the entire backend to the front end. Easy. Now, from there, let us now take a look at other things. For example, uh, let us take a look at pages. Create pages here. The session is going well so far. Login.gsx, yeah. So the usual things. So I plan to use state and use navigate. So use navigate is going to enable me, after I've logged in successfully, I can go to the next part. So use navigate is coming from React Router, DOM. So import use state, use state should come automatically like that. And then I've not installed, let me check if React Router is there. React Router DOM. Don't worry, you're going to bring it. So how do you install it? So let us just install it. Come and say npm add React Router DOM. We already have it, so it's just a matter of just bringing it. And there you go, line 17. So import use navigate from React Router DOM. That is done. Let us bring, because when registering, we need this guy. Where is it? We need line 13 to be with us. Yeah, we need line 13 to be with us. So how do you bring it to a component? This is where I want you now to know as well. So you bring it as it is, and then you call it as it is. So back integration, so backend int. So you bring it. But then I'm going to show you how to use it. That is important, step one. So how about using it? So export default function. Call this function login. This function is going to carry a set user. How do you set a user? So it's going to carry a set user, but as well, we are going to say we demand the username because you are registering, right? So username, and then we demand set username. So this is a state hook. And then remember this username, you're supposed to know the data type. So it's a string. That is the first step. The second step, we have to navigate. So we have to create a navigation. So navigate, we are using what? To use navigate method that is coming from React Router DOM. We are good so far. Now, how do you handle login? This is where I want to show you now how the front end communicates to the how the front end communicates to the back end. Watch. So handle what? Login. I'm saying asynchronous operation because the database is involved here. You're saving data to the database. So you're going to be seeing REST data. Now, you come and say const res. So the response await register. Remember, register user carries a lot of things. If you want to know, just follow this one. So when you follow this one, you're going to see a lot. So when you follow register. You can see a lot. Let me just help you follow. So when you come here, just proceed and check server. Come here to auth. Here it is. So here's the controller that I'm talking about. So the controller. So when you call register user, here it is, by the way. You exported it. When you export, it was captured where? It was captured here. We are capturing it here. So we are saying export const. So we are capturing it and saying that we want to use it. So auth controller. So what do we need? We need what? Bring you back. Where is it? Auth routes. No, not that one. So here we are saying, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, here. Register user takes one parameter, which is username for the front end. On the back end, register user allows the user. This is where we say it is going to take one parameter, which is username. Now, how do you bring it into life? So we come and say username. It takes that username, but it carries it all over. Then set user. Then rest data. So rest data, it means that, okay, everything checks out, and then navigate. Navigate where? The home directory. Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully connected backend, front-end database, and everything, API level, and everything. Auth controller, this is where it started. Then we said this. Create everything, create blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then when it came here, we just exported it. When it came here, we imported it and say, okay, this register user function is going to take one parameter. It's going to be in this route that we're talking about. So from here, it is going to also to take it, as you can see, register user, username. The username that we're talking about here, it is as well. Are you seeing? This one is going to be used inside another part that you're going to see later on in the input. This one is going to be responsible for updating this one. This one holds the current value. This one is responsible for updating the current value here. And this one holds the data type. That is, in a nutshell, a state hook. Now, let us proceed. So that is done. Now, let us return and say a state hook, then say div. So div, why is it not working? Okay. This one is going to have a class name. So this one is just an entire thing. So what do we have there? So hit screen. So hit screen, then you can be able to come and say something like flex so that you can be able to move around. Then let us center the form. This is a form basically. Just an input way because it has an input, title, and a button to submit. So send everything. Of course, we have to accompany it with justify sent, I think. The background color. What do you want to have? So the background color does have a gray. I'm used to this gray. Give it a shade of 100. Right? Now inside there, we can have another one. So this another one is going to carry other things. So class name, uh, padding 6, background to be white, so that we're able to see actually what is happening. Background white, let it be rounded. Let us throw a certain shadow there, but should be medium. Let us have a width of 96, 96%, and then you're done. So let us have a heading, which is saying join chat. Yeah, we want you to join a chat. So that's why we are saying there. So join chat, but this one is going to also be styled. So class name, text, make it Excel. I'm used to 3XL. So today let us use Excel. The font to be bold. Uh, and then you can say margin bottom. Margin bottom, let us have 4. Push down by 4. So when you push down by 4, come and say input. remove that. Uh, so let us have a class name here. Let's just style everything here. So width to be full of what we have currently, padding to be 2. Let us have a border. Border, let it be rounded as well. Margin bottom push down by 4 as well. So this one is the input. Then the placeholder. You can say username. Yeah. You can also, okay, this one is very mandatory, so there's no negotiation. This one takes the username, this one here. But when you take the username, what does it take to update it? So what is there to update that username whenever a new user comes in? So we come and say, not there. What am I trying to do? So it's going to take an event and then say set username, the one that we have been talking about. So set username, not set user, but the set username. This set username is going to take e.target. So it's going to say from this input that you are giving, targeting specifically the value that the user is giving. That is done. After that, I think you're done with the input. Now, how about the button? How about the button? So we want it to have something called enter, and then you can have an on click. So when you click it, I want the handle login to be triggered, that function in line 9 to 13 to be triggered. That is not that enough. Doing it wrongly, it's triggering twice. Good. Then you can have class name. So styling there, well, I'm not going to have conditionals layer today. Then have a shade of 500 for blue, text to be pure white, process are blue, then padding to be around 2, let it be rounded as well. Rounded corner, that is what we mean. So we are done with that, people. That we are done. That is like a component. So still you're talking about pages. Let us have the home page. Home.gsx. We are doing well, by the way. Last time we are not able even to reach to front end, but the time was really much gone. Now, import. So use effect plus use state from React. And then get rooms now. This is how I'm telling you I bring things from the backend. So rooms, get rooms, also create rooms, create room, then get message. Yeah. Bring it from the backend. And then we need the socket. So import socket. But this socket is not from, remember we have already done it in the backend integration. So we just need this guy from, should be able to bring it. We're talking about we're talking about chat room. Wait, I've not, okay, yeah, by the way, I'm okay. It's supposed to be socket. No, it's supposed to be services, by the way. Services, backend int. So it is coming from the same place. And actually, if instead of doing that, I can just import it right here. Yeah, instead of repeating everything over and over again. Avoid repetitions. Now, let us work on something that we are going to work on it later, a component for chat room. Yeah, we are going to work on a component for chat room. But for now, let me just say, let me trigger. It's normally 1, 2, 1, 2. I need components. I'm going to create a folder here called components. Inside the components, I'm going to have chat room. No, I want it to be chat room. There's a reason why I'm saying that. Control click, it is created, but it's supposed to be GSX. Okay. I don't want this here. Good. We are going to create it later on. Don't worry. So the issue. So export default. How many files do I remain with? So I'm remaining with chatroom and app.jsx. Yeah, and then after that I'm done. Yeah. So two files. Two files, then you're done. Just hold on onto that because the bigger one is yet to come. So default function talking about home, right? So this home is going to take a user as a prop. The default is twice. It's going to take that as a prop. Then you come and say const. So inside the home page, we are going to have rooms, and then you're going to be doing messages. So set rooms. But because you're going to have so many rooms, and room, why am I using certain data types? A room is already a document. And when you have so many documents which are in object format or a JSON format, you're going to cluster all of them together in an array format. So that is why, okay, so that is why I'm saying use state, but inside there I'm saying let us have array const current room. So what's the current room that I'm going to be inside there? So set current room. So this one, let us just set it as use state. Let it just be null. No, use state null. The data type should be null. Yeah. Now proceeding, let us have for the messages. So messages, set messages. Same case, because we have a document in the database for messages, we are going to have it as same case. We are going to have array because when objects or documents are arranged, all of them together, they are appearing in an array format. So one array can have so many documents. That is what we're supposed to do now. Let us have a use effect. Whenever we mount, whenever we start the application, what should happen? So the following should happen. Careful. So you're supposed to fetch all the rooms. I'm going to create a function for fetching all the rooms down here, by the way. So let us fetch all the rooms. That is what I intend to do, first of all, when you mount, like when you just enter into the app, I want us to fetch the room. Number two, I want to connect to WebSockets, to Socket IO. That is number two. Just follow closely. Number three, if, like, how do I unmount to avoid duplication? So return. This is where you want to unmount to avoid duplication. So we disconnect socket.disconnect. Now that is number three. And make sure that this one is mounted. So you mount it once. So if present, effect will only activate if the value in the list change. Right? That is what that mounting means. You have seen that there. Now, we are talking about fetching all the rooms, right? So let us create a function to fetch all of these rooms. So they are coming from the database, right? So if they're coming from the database, a synchronous operation might suffice. Then we come and say, let us now fetch from the database. So res, then we wait. So wait for what? For get rooms to be performed. So get rooms is a function that is going to be triggered all the way to the backend, to the controller that you have been seeing. Yeah. So after that, let us set rooms to be able to have the data updating to the rooms that we have there. We are done. So that one is going to do what we want. Now, how do we handle joining the rooms? How do we handle joining the rooms? So handle join rooms or room. How do you handle joining a room? Same case, that effect is being synced on the database. And if I remember vividly, it is going to carry a room. So come and say something like socket, joining a room. You've already performed that functionality. Where is it? Socket. You've already performed that functionality right here. How do you handle joining a room? So you have to connect everything together and make sure they sync to the backend, right? So joining a room, you need a username and you need the room ID. Those two things. That is what you're seeing here. The users joined using the user and the room ID. And where does the username come from? We need to find out how. We need to find out how the rest are coming in. So that's how you can be able to join a room. Now let us proceed. So socket.emit. So emitting is just broadcasting here. Come and say join room. So this is socket. Are you on the front end? So we need a few things. So username, which is user dot what? User dot username. So username on the left that you're seeing here is what we want. User dot username is what is coming from the database. That is number one. Then room ID. That is what we want. So somebody was asking, why are you doing room ID? I saw that in the Q&A. Now this is what I was trying to refer to. So room ID is what we want, which I pre-created from the backend. You've been seeing that a lot. Now, how do I sync it to make sure that it's coming from the database? So room dot, no, it is room what dot underscore ID. So when you go here, I believe we already have that. Let me put that, and then refresh this thing. Refresh database, we should be seeing group database. So when you come to room DB, we have something here that you're going to see as a schema. Because this underscore ID is being created automatically in every document. So that's why I say room ID. Then we are going to point directly where it is coming from. We said username. So where is it coming from? User.username. So when you say room dot underscore ID and then come and track it from the backend, where is it? We don't have it here. But underscore ID comes from after doing it, like comes directly automatically. User has a username. That is what you're seeing here. Now I believe now the message is now getting home. Now, after that, we need to make sure that we update the current room. So we need to update the current room with the room. The current room is going to be a function that is here that is going to update the current room with the room that we have joined just now. This is the room that the user is joining just now using the following credential, username and the room ID. After that, we come and say res, await. Let us get all the messages from that said user, from that said room. We are getting messages from that side room. So via what? We are getting it via what? Underscore ID. We are getting from that room ID. And then we can come and say here now update that set messages. So set messages, we come and say res.data. Now we are good. So let us now perform something that is going to display everything now as a UI. So we need to perform a couple of things. We need to have like channels. We need to have parts in our homepage whereby we are going to have a sidebar and then we are going to have our main content. Two things, sidebar and a main content. So the sidebar is going to be responsible for joining the rooms. You're going to be finding rooms there. But here is where, after joining the room, this is where you access. For example, this is a room, I click here, I have access to here. If I click here, I have access to here. You're getting the point, right? Now div. So this one is going to carry a side. That thing is good. That is going to have us use the aside. So plus. So you're going to be styling all the way. Flex it so that we can be able to have everything well aligned the way we want. After that, let us just have this aside. So class name. Then you come and say, let the width. We talked about this during, I don't know, I don't remember, but it was in web development. So when you say aside, I want it to take a certain percent of our entire homepage width from left to right. I want it to take a quarter. So a quarter, then the 3/4 is going to be remaining for the other parts. So for example, this one is a quarter, and then 3/4 is the other part. So for us to achieve that, we come and say width 1/4, then background gray. If you are using CSS, bare CSS, it will be very long code base that you're going to be writing just to achieve that. Text, want it to be white, right? And then I want padding to be 4. Now we are done with that. Now inside the aside, so let us perform the sidebar. Let us perform the sidebar. So we are going to say height, let us have H2. So this H2 is going to be saying rooms. At the top there. So how do we achieve the styling for this? We come and say class name. Let the text to be large. And then imagine bottom push a bit by 2, I think. Yeah. Now we proceed and say, we're doing well by the way. So the list is going to be, the rooms are going to be displayed in a list format. So let us have an ordered list. Let us have an ordered list. So this ordered list is going to take dynamic content. So rooms, you're going to say rooms dot map. So it's mapping from where? Mapping from the database. So come and say, take it from what? From rooms that we are having on the database. And then we are going now to display. So iterate. So map is going to keep an iteration going on. So as soon as something is added, it's going to update. So it's going to map and update. So it's an iterative operator that we are using. So here we are going to say li. So link, or not list, not link. Then you're going to say this one is going to appear in a key value pair. So in a key value pair such that the key is going to be what? The room ID, underscore ID. And then let us style it, because it has to have style main. You can just say M before, push down, so that the next room can be able to appear, right? So if that is the case, let us have a button inside whereby you can click to join a room. Yeah, you need a button to click to join a room, such that you're going to say room, you're going to display a room name. Yeah, such that when you click here, this is a button, but that's why you're able to join here, because it's a button. So when you click that button, you're going to click the name, and then you enter that room. Now, we are not done yet. We are not done yet. So this one is going to be triggered by one click using the handle join room that we have here. Using the handle join room that we have here. So how do you achieve that? So we want to say handle join room, but you're joining using a room. So because it was carried here, that is what we are going to use there. Are we together? Now, we are not done yet, so let us style it. So class name. So let us take the full width. The full width of what? Is going to take the full width of this quarter. So from end to end, that's why you're seeing this here. Like the home page is being highlighted because it's taking the full width. So if I click here, even if I'm not clicking on the name, if I just click here, it is at the whole width. Actually, this one is the best example to explain what I'm talking about. Take the full width of 100% of the quarter. And then we want to say background have a gray. But I'm not a front-end developer. I just know how to put it well. Let us have 700 because we had 800 initially. That's shading. It's about shading, by the way. And then let us have P2, which is padding 2. Then let us have it to be rounded, like the buttons to be rounded, not to be sharp cornered. And then we are going to say, when you hover on it, for example, when you hover, you can see what I'm talking about. When you hover, the color changes. So when you hover, we are going to say, let the background gray to change the shade to be 600, just a little bit down. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done with that part. We're done with that part. Simple. So that one is the UI. Like the UL, not UI, the UL of the sidebar. How about the main? How about the main? How do we achieve the main? So remember we talked about flexing, right? So let us flex this one to the other part. So we flex, so class, so flex it to be on the right side. So how do you do that? You flex it to be on the right side. So flex one, padding four. After that, let us now put things. So when you click the home page, you enter into the home page, right? So I want us in the main, when you click this button, you enter that main page. So current, you're going to call it current room, right? That is what I'm going to, but this one is going to be conditional. Unless you click it, that's when you are going to enter. So this is why I want to bring in the chat room. So what is it found inside that room? When you open the bedroom, you're supposed to find the bed. When you open the door for the kitchen, you're supposed to find everything to cook, utensils and everything. Now, how about the other way around? That is what we want to achieve. So that is why I talked about that chat room. That's why I talked about that chat room that I want to bring in. But before that, let us just list the usual. Let's just list the usual and say room. The room is going to contain what? The current. So the room that we're talking about is the current room. That is obvious. That is number one. Number two, the messages that are supposed to be in that room, we point it there, that message, messages. And what else? The user, we point to the user. So it's just a matter of bringing all the dynamics into place. User. Some people are going to say, oh, it looks so simple. No, 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 no. It is very vital actually to do this. Put an equal sign there. That is done. But this one is a conditional. Yeah, that is a conditional. So how do we achieve something that is a conditional? So we are supposed to put, as you can see, they are expecting us to put the column and then to put another one. So if the room doesn't show, if the room, you have not clicked the room. So if I click, I'm going to be taken here. Otherwise, just is going to have something, a message here. I'm going to have a message here. Let me put it well. I don't know why. Yeah. I'm going to have a message here. Select a room, join. Simple. Don't even to style this, by the way, but if you want to style, okay. So if you have not clicked a room to join, you're going to find this. If you have clicked, you're going to be taken here. So let us take a look at what chat room is exactly. So let us go there. We are doing well by there. Wait until you see what emerges out of here. So import. This one is, I think, the second last file. This one is the second last file. Then you're going to wrap up with the main file and see how it works. Yeah. So user, before we enter into the weekend, so user effect, but also we want the user ref. Today I want to use the user ref because we want to use referencing, then use state from React. And then I think that is it. Don't need anything else. So just telling. So default function chat. This exactly. So what does a chat room have to pass as a prop? Passes the room, passes the messages, passes what? The user, passes the socket. Now let me take you back and tell you where these are the props that we are talking about. Room, messages, user, socket, not these ones. So these ones are the ones that are being passed. They are props because they hold data. Now proceeding. So usual thing const chat, set chat, because it is chatting, is going to be string. It's going to be string data type. And then we can have const typing user. I told you about the user typing. So typing user, because when inside there, you are supposed to see a user typing. So set typing user. This one was user. And this one, yeah, let it be like that. So use state, also a string. Sometimes I don't use this data type for no reason because actually I've done that before. So const message reference MSG ref is going to take what? So how do you refer message to somebody? You refer it like this. So use a ref. For now, let it take null. No. So we are done with that. Let us have a use effect, a side effect. Let us just have a side effect of things that are happening upon mounting. When you enter into something, what is supposed to happen? Now, you can come and say confidently, the following should happen. Now, WebSocket is in play. Now watch. So come and say socket dot on. I talked about new message somewhere. New message. I talked about new message somewhere. Where is it? Is it in home or where? This one is join room. But I remember talking about new message. Where is it? Index. Yeah, exactly. That is what I'm talking about. So new message. That is where we are bringing it from. So new message. New message is going to be MSG, but this one is going to be passed from the user. The user is going to give us that. So MSG, we are going to attach it, MSG ref dot. So this is where we bring in DOM, by the way. So this is where we bring in DOM and change a few things dynamically. Dot in HTML. Who remembers me talking about in HTML? Hello. Can you hear me? I'm switching to data, mobile data, because my power just went off. Power just went off right now. Went off at a very opportune time, but we're almost done. Now, okay, I believe you can see my screen. Let me check. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Thank you, Dennis. This one is supposed to be messages. Let us check. Is it messages? Let us check. Yeah, it is messages. Good. Good man. Now, talked about this. Are you able to see my screen as we proceed? People are giving it thumbs down. I don't know if I'm able. Are you able to see my screen, literally? Is it blurred? Let me stop sharing and share again. How about now? How about now? Perfecto. Now, what is saying blank? Now, let us proceed. So we want something here, but we want to do it in an intent way. So we are going to say we want to add iteratively. That's why we put plus then equals. We want to add iteratively the following. Like we want to have that paragraph being bold, and then after that we want to display the message and the sender and the content. So that is what we want to do. So to perform that, Okay, the screen. So I'm going to do using strong. For those who don't know strong, strong is normally used as bold. So people, let us be respectful. What we're doing now is not disrespect. So we come and say it's a template literal, so msg dot sender dot username. That is what we are referring here. So that is what we want, but we are not done yet. So that one is going to be strong, but now the message. So it's going to attach, then say here something like msg dot, let us have the content. So the content is going to be shown here. So here is the username, which is very bold. And here, the content that that user is giving. That is number one. So stage number one, we have accomplished. So that one is falling under in HTML. So that is now displaying the message. Now, number two, what are we supposed to put now? Typing. When the user is typing, so dot on. If you're just bored, please, you can just step off the class, allow other people to join and learn. Otherwise, the session is being recorded. With all this due respect, typing. So in here, we need the following. We need the username because, yeah, for you to say that so and so is typing, you need the username. After that, what else do you need? Come and say set typing. Then we tag the username that we have there. So user that you are passing, by the way, that is a parameter that you're passing. You have to differentiate between a parameter and a prop. So that is typing. How about when you stop typing? Same thing. Dot on. Uh, Stop typing. That is what you're passing. Comma. So it doesn't take anything. You just stop typing. So you can just say same thing. So set typing. Then we make it blank now. Just make it blank. That is done. We are we are getting this done by the step by step. So after that, let us now clean up. This is now when we do clean up. This is how we do clean up. Now to do clean up, you just turn everything off that we have. So off. Then we bring the new message. You turn every event off because this is an event. This one is this an event, this an event. So you also bring this one in. We come and say, so that one is off. Copy, put it there, put it there. Some things, so just make sure that you make a shortcut. This one is turning them off. Good. Now after that, of course, it's a use effect. It has to be mounted. Just exactly like that, then you're done. Now, after doing that, let us now handle typing because we have not handled typing, this one and this one. So let us handle typing and then handle sending the message within the chat. So const handle, you're handling typing. So this one should be very simple. How do you see somebody typing, by the way? That is the big question. Now, here's the logic, very simple logic from the socket. So we emit dot emit. So emit what? Emit typing. Just like that. That is step number one. Then you put a timeout of 1 second, or in programming, you use milliseconds. So we put a timeout, so set timeout. You set timeout. Have I written it correctly? Yeah. It's not supposed to be the other way around, no. So you set a timeout, but this timeout is going to be according to the user. So say socket dot emit. You put how long should be seen the user typing. How long? So we put it being second by second. So you put a timeout, then you emit stop typing. That is how you do. So Line 30 is going to show typing. Line 31 is going to stop typing up after 1 minute, after 1 second. So stop. Supposed to actually be a stop typing. And then we are going to have it up for 1000 milliseconds, which is equivalent of 1 second. Yeah, that is what we have. So delays in milliseconds. So that is done. So that is how you handle typing. But how do you handle sending? Sending a message. So handle send. Very simple. Just come out majestically and say when you send a message, for it to be displayed there in real time. This is now where real time comes in. Talk about send message. So you're sending it where? You're sending it as a chat. We are going to see that chart. Then we're going to see how the value is going to handle that chart. Typing user. Have I used that before? But we're going to see how to use that. So chart. After that, you clear set chart. If nothing is going on, you just make it empty to allow others to come in later on. Now, you learners, let us now take a look at styling this boy. Needs to be beautiful. Here we go. So div, don't know, it's taking too long sometimes. So we come and say H2, let's style H2, but this one you're going to put the room name because that is the title. You're going to say room.name, dynamic, then style it. So class name. Then inside there, we're going to say text. Let us make it to Excel a bit bigger. And then we can have a margin bottom of maybe 2, right? After that, we can come and say the next step, let's have a div, but this div is going to display the messages. And the messages are going to be mapped from the database in this format that I've just written here. So let us see how to come up with that, something like that. So div, we said messages. So messages are going to be mapped, but we're talking about MSG. We're all done. No, it's not supposed to be that way. Yeah, that way. So for us to handle something like this, we are going to say P for paragraph. Yeah, come on. Yep, that is what I'm talking about. And then there I'm going to say strong. So for this strong is going to carry something. We'll say msg dot sender dot username. I'm not repeating. This is now how we display what we did there above. But inside here, we can say this one is going to carry key value pair. And the value that is going to say msg dot underscore ID. So the message ID directly, attach it to the sender name and everything. And then from here, we can be able to come and say maybe, yep. And then we conclude by putting the content now, msg content dot content. Good. So let us style this. So you can come and say class name. Let me think. So height 64%. Overflow. You can have an overflow. So let us overflow it under y-axis. So in fact, it is going to overflow vertically, not horizontally. So let it be auto, by the way. Automatically, we should not be able to trigger it at a certain height. And then let us have a border. E to background gray. Give it 50, 50. Yeah, give it a shade of 50. We are done with that. And then, without forgetting, we're talking about MSG ref, right? We're talking about MSG ref, so we can just put a reference here and then call it MSG ref. MSG ref, we've already done it up there. Line 6. Good. Now, we are not done yet. Let us now take a look at typing. When the user is typing, what should happen? Div. So when the user is typing, what should happen? Just call the typing user, and we're saying typing user, but you're supposed to put it in a very funny way using a template literal and come and say typing. It's not bringing it up. So typing user, we point it directly to who. So typing user is now going to say Dedan is typing. Well, like that. Normally on WhatsApp, it's normally that. So typing user, then is typing. This one is not going to be showing. This one is going to be showing. So after that, let us style it. Class name. Give it MP4 margin bottom for 2. Give it 2. Text should be small. Text should be gray 600. Don't know what gray gave me. 600. I think that's it. Now, that is typing. Still under chat, let us take a look at the actual input whereby you're going to be typing the message and even clicking the send. Yeah. Now, having that, we can come and say this one should have input. And then let us start by styling this guy. So how do you style a chat? Um, Very simple. Let it be loose and have a gap of 4 or 3, 2. So this one, the usual way, the usual case is class name. Flex it a bit. 1, put a padding of, and let it be rounded. Let us have this. So this value is going to carry what the chat that we talk about. So on change is going to carry it. Then to be done there is set chat, because that is what we're talking about here currently. And then this one is going to carry a few things here and there. So it dot target dot value, the usual thing. So how about e dot target? Have I written it correctly, or yeah, spelling there? So we want to do another one, which is key down. On key down, there's a way that we can able just to hit enter. When you hit enter, like it is going to handle the typing. As long as you press, not even enter, as long as you press any keyboard, any key on your keyboard, whether it's a phone or the laptop or computer, when you press any key, it's going to indicate typing. It's going to it's going to trigger this function here for handle typing. So how do you make sure that typing is able? So on key down. So this is a property that is very much interesting, such that we can just come and say handle type, right? Now, let us proceed and say, what else am I forgetting? Or placeholder. Yeah, you normally also have a placeholder. So you can come and say type message. What am I doing? Are we enjoying the session so far? Like, how is it so far? Give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Even if you're floating, that's okay. It's normal. That is normal, though. Now, let us proceed. Until you see this thing in live, that is when you're going to say, okay, now, yeah, it was making sense. This one is normally, let us put some ellipses there. So that is for that. Let us have a button. Let's have a button. So this button is going to say send. Or if you have an icon, you just can and put an icon there. Class name. So this class name, let us have a background of blue for this button. A shade of 500. I know that kind of blue by the way is normally used for send button. You can have green if you want to. Just understand the shading in padding x-axis. I want it to be horizontal. So 4, make it rounded, that button. And then when you click, so on click, what should happen? When you click, you should handle the handle send. That one should be triggered. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just tiled the entire chat up in less than 100 lines. Now, how do you bring all of this together to make sure that they work? So remove this, import, import. What are we importing here? Use state. Yeah, import use state for now. What else? So the React router browser, React router DOM, we need that. So come and say import. We are importing it for the sake of the browser router. Browser router, exactly. And then what else do we need? We need the login because these two things here, the home and the login. So import login, and then import home, import home. Good. After that, let us now export the final thing. So export default function. The function that we're talking about here is called app. We are now winding up, ladies and gentlemen, just about the evening time for tea. Now, user, that is what we need. Set. Remember the set user that we brought it. Where is it? This is set user that we brought it here. Turns out that it originally comes from here. That is what I want us to use. You have to understand where the codes are, by the way, instead of just throwing them here and there. Put it as null for now. We are going to see how to come up with that. Now, this one should be very simple. No gimmicks, no logics. So return browser router. You wrap everything with browser router. Come on, man. Yep, that is what I want. Inside there, we need the routes. Then inside the routes, we need the route. Inside the route, we are going to put now things, but now this one should be very different. We don't have that kind of route, by the way. What am I even doing? We only have few routes. What am I doing, man? Am I that hungry? Good. So in here, we can now throw a path. Come and say path, home. What am I doing, man? So that one is going to be path home element. Remember what we did last week? So element. Uh, so the element here that we're going to have is if you're a user, you're going to put something even fun here, logical. So user. Uh, if you are a user already, you can navigate to the home page. That is what I want us to have. But this one is going to be guided by a few things here, unless you are a user. Good. What am I even doing? Let me see. Let me see. Where am I going wrong? Where am I going wrong? Ah, okay. I get it now. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Now, if you're not a user, so this one you're supposed to navigate home. If you're not a user, please log in. That is what we want. But we log in using the set user equals set user because the one is the one that is going to keep updating. That way, then that way we are good. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just finalized everything. Then go to main.gsx, make sure that everything is okay. Okay, the moment of the truth. Me, power just came out. Just came up. Power just came out. Are you able to let me reshare my screen again? Good. Power just came back. Go to the browser there. Yeah, you can see my browser. Let me turn this off. Wow, 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 wow. So let us see what we can have here. So clear, pnpm, run dev. Moment of truth. We come back here, localhost 173. Of course, I usually have problems. Why? Because I'm not, you see, route is not it's not defined. Route is not defined. Why? Because I'm here doing things here and I have not even called them here. So routes, and then we have routes. Yeah, I'm using things that are not being used. And also we have other things here that are not well defined. For example, this one, that's why I've been having challenges here because I put them under quotes. Good. Everything is reusable. There you are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us enter a name. Okay, why is it not reacting? Let us check. Uh, so it's saying what? Pay auth. So is it that our server is not running? Our server is running. Let us see the kind of error that okay. Let's refresh. It's good to have errors, by the way, because I've been typing things for the longest. Okay, now we have an error. Where is this error coming from? The backend. So this route is not exactly found. This route is not exactly found. This is good when you have this kind of errors, by the way. Don't laugh. You are going to be hit by these errors because I've been coding these things out of my head. Sometimes you get stuck and you find that you have to debug, which is good. Because when you see a developer coding and no debugging, now that is now copy pasting. So let us take a look because I remember exactly where I did that here. There you are. There you are. Don't remember actually putting you here, but okay. Anyway, yeah. So let us do it again. You're debugging day by day. Okay, we have another one there. So this one, the auth. So this one API is referring to that API register/register. Mm, no. Okay, I'm good. It should work regardless. It should work regardless. Do you know why it is not working? Let me check again. Main.gsx line 13. There's something that we are missing here. Okay, people with Hawk's Eye. Let me check the. So does name of the file back in the JS have something to do with? Yeah. Localhost 5000. Local. This is the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the problem. I didn't put the. Oh, you see, small issues. Okay, now we have passed that issues. Now we have other issues. Okay, now where's the problem? Where's the problem? It's good that I'm getting the errors because I am not perfect. This kind of errors. Hmm? I fixed the HTTP, but I don't know why. Oh, okay, I'm seeing now where the issue is. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Let us bring back, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. Let us bring back the auth. Do you know why I'm bringing this? Because I've used this one somewhere. Let me just copy and show you. I remember where I used it. When you go here, you're going to find instances. But where is it? We have another one. Routes.js. Let us go there. Routes. So we go with auth. Here we say that. So let me just put it exactly. It is confusing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one should suffice and fix our issue. We keep debugging. We keep debugging. Don't worry. We keep debugging. We keep debugging. What else? We go to the controller. Everything is cool. So we have fixed a couple of things. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So the final piece, here it is. You see, we say auth, and we are not using auth. So this is the point whereby we are supposed to actually put auth. We have done that. But we're not getting any errors here. How about here? Restart, local. You people are using something that I'm not. Let me see. Mhm. Or doesn't like my name. Okay, we have a different error. Okay, same. Line 13 of login.jsx. Okay, do not touch that part. Line what? They're talking about line? Line 13. How is line 13? The hell? How is line 13 part of the error? Does it make sense? How is line 13 part of the error? How is line 13 part of the error? How is line 13 part of the error? Server.js is cool. Huh. Oh, yeah, yep. I think I'm contradicting myself over and over. Let us go to routes. This one should change. Let it leave like that. Our controller is okay. Our everything is okay. Should be having the answer. Good. There you are. There you are. But now, how do you select a room that is not there? We are good. This is what I was telling you. We have this and we have this. So the problem is we have a way to create a room. We have a way to have the room. But let me see. We are able to fetch the room, but we are not able to create a room. There's something that I've not done. There's something that I've not done, which is an optional UI. But let's say the user is the one creating the room. So let us create a room in what? In our postman. Let's create a room in our postman. So we go to our postman because let us assume is the admin is the one creating a room. That is what I want to assume. So we come back here. Blank collection. We call this a group chat. Let us assume the admin is the one creating the room. So we come here, we say post. This one is supposed to be post. We fetch 5,000. We're talking about API, we're talking about rooms, right? Change this one to post. And then we go to body, and then you make sure it is JSON. So inside the body, what are you supposed to do is just say name. The reason I have the room is not created, but I'm going to create a tunnel. Then you're going to join. So name, call this one general chat, just like WhatsApp. Save, send. Should work. Good. So the room is there. So we should be able to refresh and see the room. Rejoin again. Okay, it is not there. Uh-huh. It's not able to fetch the room because we already have a way to render all the rooms. We have a way to render all the rooms. So when you come back to database, refresh, you should be able to see our room. You should be able to see the messages that are not there. The user is there. They're done. Okay. So currently I'm offline because I've not joined a room. Let's take a look and see. No errors. Okay, let me check. Where's the room? This is chat room. No, we had another one which is going to conditionally render. This one should be able to map all the rooms, but it is not. So let us check the one that is able to fetch the rooms. So this one is there. Okay, good. This one picks from the services, which is good. So let us have a try catch. Let me wrap around this one in a try catch so that I can be able to see where the error is. Try catch, put it there. Just some techniques to debug. Uh-huh. So if the room is not there, let us have a console dot error. You should be able to see that on the other side. Failed fetch rooms. And what kind of message should we be getting? Error dot message. Yeah, getting. Okay, no error. It's plotting me out. Do you have any? No, no errors. So let me check. This is how we are able to render because you're using mapping, but mapping is not working. So we might be having a mistake that is made around here. because it is not able to count all the rooms that are there. So the problem is this map. That is what I know. Yeah, this bug, uh, it is not going to render. Nothing is going to render. So let us work on how we can go to revamp this callback. Let us work on how we can go to revamp this callback. So this one is okay. Where is the problem? They want to join. Uh, so rooms dot map room. Then we have room underscore ID. We are returning. We are handling the join room, and then we are giving the name. That is exactly what we've done. Okay. How about another one? Oh, so this one we can put it in a JSX format. Let's try to put it in a JSX format so that you can go to render as JSX. So return. So return. Then we put everything that we have there. This is fix number one. I can think of several fixes. Yeah, like that. And then we close here. This one should render. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it worked. It actually worked. It was not rendering well. So when you join, good. But we have a couple of issues. Debugging day and day. The message is not found. Okay, good. So let me see. Hello, world. Good. Okay, it is now behaving like this. We are doing good. We are doing good, by the way. You're not a developer if you're not getting error. So 918, 918. Let us see services. Ah, now you see we are making mistakes, but we are fixing. So this one is supposed to be messages or message. Let us just confirm. When you come to routes, when you come to controller, what are we passing there? Is it a message or messages? Yeah, you're saying messages, but us, we are passing what? So let us go here and take a look at what's popping up. You can see you're talking about messages, but here we are talking about message. So put there. You should be able to see something. So join general chat. You see? Good. Everything works. Now, that is done. Okay, I've just closed my browser. I don't know why. Bring it up again. Localhost 5173. So when I join this as Okware, that's a new user. When I join, I can see, oh, okay, we have another issue. What is the issue exactly? Okware. Okay, it's not loading well, but let me create a tunneling system. Then we can be able to see how we can chat. Or instead of creating a tunneling system, let me create a tunneling system just right now. ng block http 5000. Or instead of doing that, don't know what I'm doing. Let me just deploy it so that you can see what I'm talking about. Environment. So we need make ignore file. So make ignore and the node. What is ignored now? Oh, it is not even initialized. So we need, yeah, it is ignored. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, allow me to show you something which is an ulterior part of the session that I can be able to show you as part of us understanding. I know the time is well much spent, but just forgive me. Just forgive me. I'm just an enthusiast of this. Should we continue? Should we stop at that? Because I want to show you something on MongoDB cluster and deploying so that we can be able to interact with it. Otherwise, the session is being recorded. So, MongoDB cluster. I have so many clusters there that some of them were shut down. But MongoDB is very fine, no problem for that. But let me show you how to configure exact thing that we have here on the cloud easily, by the way. So let us log in with Google. That is the account. I have two accounts for Google and GitHub. This is new. It is not showing me this interface. It's been so long since I was here. Okay, let us see a couple of databases that I have. Okay, I'm using, yeah, I have a couple of projects. Let us go. The organization that I have. um, Come on. Yeah, the projects, you see, so many for a couple of years now, since 2022. Now, let us create a project here. Call this one group chat. No need. Create a project. Cancel. Let me delete it. There's something that I've not done that is very, very vital. Group chat. Click that out. Restrict UI. It is wrong in this thing. Let me create another one. But I think it's the same thing because group chat doesn't have any cluster. So create a cluster around it. I like Azure, free, and then create deployment. I'm usually pissed with these things, by the way. You see, now I'm not allowed to proceed. Seriously? Really? Okay, what does the traffic like looks like? Because for me, I'm entering everything that I know, but they keep okay. Try capture. I hate this thing. Really? Seriously? But anyway, we are verified. Let me switch to my normal. Okay. The password, PLP, the password, let us have PLP, test. Don't come and hack me. Copy, then PLP test. Yeah. Choose connection. So connection, we have so many. We have compass directly, we have drivers. So for me, let me go for the driver. This one is the latest, so that is what you're going to use. Or if that you're not satisfied, you can go for the compass. Choose what you want to choose, inject it there, then it's going to work. But let me go with what I know. So having that, this is what you're going to copy at the end of the day. So done. Now, for you to connect, let me get connection string. This is exactly what I want. So just copy, remember the password. Now, when you go here, um, Let me have another one here, Mongo. Mongo URI APL production. And then right here, I can come and have, let me show you to configure. So you come and change this one, this PLP test. And then just between net slash and this question mark, you put now your database. So we call this one group DB. That is when you do it. So how do you configure this one to have MongoDB in production? You see? How do you configure this one to have this one in production for testing purposes? So where is it? So this is where we are configured. Where is that config DB? We want to have this boy to be on production. What is going on? We want to have this guy to be on production. So we are not supposed to use the other way. Hold on. Oh, hey, time is far much gone. Anyway, to connect this one to also use the production way, not that hard, by the way, not that hard. So as soon as you have done everything and then you want to put it on production, you just need to come and make sure that this Mongo URI, wherever you're deploying. Now, let me now show you. For now, let me just leave this one here for production, but let me come and change it. Because it is going for production, we are going to change it there. Now, don't worry, the only thing that you need is this, and not even port and everything. This one remains. So that is done. We are going to see it happening. So done. After that, we are going just to make sure that it is going to load. Now, one important thing is that go to network access, make it accessible to anywhere. So let me just change it. Allow access from anywhere, confirm. Done. That is one thing that you're supposed to actually know how to do. Yeah, good. We are good. Don't show me again. So you're deploying now. To deploy to render.com, you come and take a look at services. So let me log in. It's been long, man. Let us see. So authorize. So as you can see, it is, let me log in via GitHub because that's the way I have an account. So let me put my authenticator thing from my phone. Is it, I have so many. Render Heroku. Okay, I found it. 393, don't hack me. 698. Good. Now we are here. I have since deleted other things that I was not using now. Start a project. Call this project group chat. So it's production. Now, while you're here, when you click new, you're supposed to go, you see static, this is for front end, this one for backend. We go for the web service, which is backend. So you choose the provider. Choose the provider. So go for GitHub. Because I've not pushed it, we are going to push it, then you're going to see how. So the provider is coming from GitHub, but you're going to see it listing here. So it is not here yet. So how do we make sure that it comes here? So let us push our code to GitHub. So commit group chat, base, and then come and say push new. So let us create a GitHub. Let's create a repo. This repo, call it group chat. Choose carefully. Group chat. Locate IO. Make it public. So copy and then put that link for it to be published. Put that password, origin, and then we are home. Now, when you refresh, you should be able to see that. Good. Now, you come back here, you come and search group chat, but it is not there. Let us take a look. Let us choose the one that is supposed to come out and give us configure in GitHub. Let us choose next, that one. All repos. Throw the password in there. Good. Yep, so it is going to refresh and allow us to put it there. So group chat 1 minute ago, click that. Now, while in there, we are talking about production. That is the repo that we're talking about. That is the name, right? So we're talking about node environment branch main. So what is the main file root directory? So for you to do that, you're going to call it, when you say dot slash, then you put server, you're saying from the current project, I want to go inside the server. And then how do you build? So building, just say npm install or npm install. And then how do you start? npm, but you have not indicated that. So you see, you have to be very careful. You come here and then put start. So how do you start? You start using node. So node server.js. Because nodemon is not going to run there. Remember, we imported nodemon as a developer dependency, so it is not going to work in production. So after changing that, this one can't work. So start server config and then sync. It's going to use the latest one, don't worry. Come on, finish. Taking too long, man. Good, finished. Now, we're talking about pnpm start. Yeah, so I'm going to pick free and then make sure you are able to come here. Environment variables. Remember what we are picking there? So ours, we are targeting MongoDB URI production. And then you put the value. This one is now MongoDB on cloud. Come and put it there. And then, yeah, it is done. Advanced, leave it. No secrets. So when you are done and dusted, let us see if we can be able to edit. Refresh, you see, we're talking about 1 minute ago. Let us make sure the same happens. Edit. Yep, no problem. It's going to pick the latest commit. That's the beauty of it. Now everything is done and dusted. Pick also the free, by the way. And then you click deploy to service. It's going to use exactly what you have given it here. Perform everything. Let us see the moment of the truth. So it's going to have the building logs here. As soon as it is done, we are going to take a link there and then go and use that link whenever we want to use it. So it is going well. So far, so good. Good. When you see successful, then the build is successful. Let us now see the deploying. After deploying is done, we are going to take this link that you are seeing here. This is the one that we are going to put on the front, and I'm going to show you how. Remember the course? The course, we are going to see how. But now we have a problem with the code base on the front end. Don't worry. So it is starting. So pnpm start until it is finished. The orange color is going to turn, I think, green. So let us go and do other businesses. Okay. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Connected. Good, good, good. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Everything is running well. Copy that link. Good. Now your backend is up and running, but just wait for it to finish everything. But your service is running, as you can see. Now the front end, remember the course that we're talking about. So we are supposed to change here. We're supposed to change here. Let us allow all for now. Let us allow all because it is going to come up from the front end. After that, course configured, and then commit. The committing is going to just keep running. Sync. After that, I'm just going to take exit, then enter into the same thing again. Remember, it is working using start config. So it is working with the latest deploy, latest commit rather. Yeah, so it is up. Let us take a look at another event. Yeah, it is. So this one is deployed. This one is the latest one actually right now. So when you come and check, everything should be working the same URL. Now let us go for the front end. Vercel.com. Vercel.com, add new, come on, add new project. I don't know if it is going to configure into my own project or what, but let me choose, yeah, here it is. Group chat, this one is the one that I want. Okay, this is the problem now. Yeah, this is the problem that I was experiencing. If that is the case, don't worry. We got you covered. So we go back here. We can just use this one, by the way. It is going to work as well. Go for the static site. Choose the provider. Choose that guy. So we call this one Socket.io frontend. Production main. You're talking about client. How do you build it? npm run build. Don't know why it is bringing this, but anyway. Frozen log file, then npm run build. How do you run it? npm run dev. Yeah. Hmm. Anyway, it is working still. So it is speaking from there, doesn't have any front-end variables, but okay, it is going to accept, it's going to accept. But you have not pointed it really well. So let me go here. But we have a lot of problems, by the way. We need to change a lot. So when you come back here, the base URL should be that guy. And the API URL should be that guy. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? So that the front end is able to communicate to the back end. So base URL for backend and what am I doing? Backend changed. Good. You should not be having any localhost actually. Okay, okay. This one was finished building, by the way. Everything was working. The same URL actually. That one is done. Let us go for this one. So this one should take the latest one. Good. Uh-huh. No environment variables, so just click deploy static file. It should work. If it is that doesn't work, I have another fix. That one should not worry you. So it is taking, cloning, doing everything that we expect it to do. So far, so good. Checking versions, building, running that one perfect. Okay, we are failing. Why? PNPM run dev doesn't exist. So what else does exist? Let us check. Not panic, do not panic. Vite. Vite. So PNPM run dev. No, 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 no. You should be able to be, this one runs the developer dependency. So what runs on the back front end? Um, I'm very confused now. I'm very, very confused. Let me research on ChatGPT because there's something that I'm missing here. For Vercel, Vercel does work actually out of the box. For Vercel, it actually works out of the box. Mhm. It doesn't work with React. Let me see. But we have a fix for that. Where's the dist folder? Doesn't have. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So for you to actually work with this, I've just remembered. For you to actually work with this, you have to make sure that you've run npm run build. If it brings you errors, then you have mistakes inside your code. Perfect. So this folder was the one that was missing. Now it is here, showing. Good. Uh-huh. Let me think, let me think. Now, because you're deploying, you're supposed not to ignore it. So let me remove the ignore. Where's the dist? So don't ignore it. I want it to be available there. That is my point. I want it to be available there. I want it to be available there. So come back here, refresh. Why is this folder not showing? Delete it and run it again. That is the whole point, by the way. It is not able to show. Okay. When here, was it able to run it? So Vite build. Uh, but while it was building it, okay, okay, okay. Then what was I running it with? So PNPM run dev. Now I see. Now I see. I made a very grievous mistake. Let me change settings. Uh, where's the place? Yeah, this is the place where I made that mistake. So inside here, I should be able to say this. It is published, not running. That was my problem now. Even doesn't matter if I change anything here or what. Let me just revert everything back as it was. Yeah, that one should run everything now. Wow, we're almost done now. We're almost done. Good. Loading, build. So that build is now the static part. Just HTML and a bunch of things. Your site is live. Congratulations to us. Now let us see if we are talking or just okay, let us go. Now our cluster doesn't have anything. That is what we know so far. Go back to the cluster. Dismiss uh, overview. Okay, browse collection, that is what I wanted. So when you go to the browse collection, for now it is empty, but you have no data. As you can see, loading documents, nothing. Nothing here as well. Loading documents, nothing. As here, loading documents, nothing. So we should be able to say that then when you hit enter and come and refresh back here, where is the refreshment, by the way? Go back. Yeah, there you are. So it has created, but now we have a very big problem such that we are not able to create that room. So everything checks. Let me create a chart. Let me create a chart. Where is it? So create room. How do you create a chart? Uh, how did we do that, by the way? I want us to do that. Let me see your opinion. But we did it with the postman. But this time I want us to do it differently. I want us to do it differently. Let me research. But no, 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 no. We can be able. Yeah, yeah. I think we can. We can still do it in postman. I've just thought about it. Actually, we can. Actually, we can. Don't know if what are people saying here. Yeah, we can actually. Let me show you. So when you come back here for the backend, just copy this and then you come to Postman, just replace it here, just like that. And then everything how it was, can just clear this one by the way. Where is it? Clear response. The same way. So we can have that, save, and then send. You should be able to come. Yeah, good. It was working. Now, when we come back here and refresh, so let us join again. Yeah, there you go. So let me share the link for the ladies and gentlemen to be able to test it and tell me. Wow, 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 wow. I need you people now to start testing. So let me come and say here, hello, hello PHP. Then click send. Don't know why it is acting like that way. Let me check the logs. I can see somebody's typing here. Don't know, but let me fix that bug. That is a bug. Let me fix that bug. So the sockets are running, but the message is invalidating. I don't know why. Let me refresh and join again. It is buggy. It is not stable, but I should be able to see you people there. Or it doesn't take a lot of traffic because now I'm not able to join in. I'm not able to type. So it has started. Uh, General chat. Oh, yeah, there you go. But it's not stable. It's not stable. Before I allow you people to come in, Mm. Actually, you can come here and track your messages. Yeah, a lot of people have been texting, hello, hi. Huh? A lot of people have been texting. No, I might know why. Let us go to chatroom.gsx. Let us fix everything before we just leave. I might know why. I think this is where our rain started beating us. That is where our rain started beating us. Hmm. But I can see your messages. They are streaming really fast. Let me rejoin, actually refresh and then rejoin. We're going to see all of your message there. And even the server is not taking it. I don't know why. You see, it is starting now. Now it is live. Just check. Yeah, people have been texting actually. Real time, real time, real time. Let me see. I think we have an issue. Let me just have a fix. So template literal, that is where I went wrong. And then I'm just copied the code and put ChatGPT and was able to resolve because I don't have time. What else do I need to do? So let us push this change. Let us throw in there because that happens inside the chat room. So, but wow, we have achieved something. We are able to text. Actually, you can see user typing, user typing, user typing, user typing. So let us take a look at the new batch event. Okay, another instance has failed. If people are going to to knock off my, let me see logs. Messages are coming. Messages are coming, I'm telling you. Anyway, we have tried. Yeah, now it is fixed. We have Vin typing, you can see by yourself. Bondex typing, Richard typing. You can see that by yourself. Yeah, you can see that by yourself. Now, wait, 3 hours. Even is it 3 hours or 4 hours? It has been worth it. It has been worth it, man. Kasongo must go. Someone is calling themselves Kasongo. Yeah, I've opened the chats. Yeah, but as you can see, our real-time typing, chatting is working. You cannot do this using HTTP. Now everything is working. Wow, 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 wow. Weh. Now, for the sake of you people depleting my storage, I'm now going to eliminate some people. But anyway, as you can see, everything works. If I create another chat, you can go to join in. You see? Even if I type here, you cannot see me typing. You people are seeing me typing, but I cannot see myself typing. You see? Some of you can join. I don't understand why. Just refresh the maybe it's the internet. Wow, 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 wow. Any question? Wait. Let me allow people to speak. Yeah, same link. Same. The link is the same. The link is absolutely the same. And I'm going to answer Angela's question. How comes we can't see the messages we have sent? For me, I'm seeing everything. I believe. Okay, it is not stable enough because I've not created what we call. There's something that I've not done to make sure that our messages are being cached well. You can see the traffic. You yourself, you can see the traffic. So I've not implemented a production grade web app for Socket.io. That's why you're seeing it like that. But if I was building it for so many people to use it, it would be very light. Yeah, it would be very light. That's why we have Redis. Actually, I was about to talk about Redis adapter, which actually caches everything and makes the application entirely very light. Now, let me start answering the questions from top to bottom, but it's been amazing. Now, Angela is talking about a few things here. Start from the bottom. The morning, I'm going to push the repo as well. It is lagging because of what I've been telling you now. I'm going to send that. Let me start clearing the Q&As. I see people digest. I'm going to also share the repo. But thank you for those who have been keeping an eye on my errors. The APK is not required. Mhm. Now, the questions. Hey, you have so many questions, I cannot even track them. Now, assuming I'm building a school system, blah, 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 HTML, responsive, is it easy? Now, if you are building HTML and you are the backend, you're going to write a lot of code. Yeah, for sure. That is why things like Express are there to make sure like things like router, MongoDB are well captured well. So yeah, you can do so, but you're going to write a lot of codes. It's not going to be easy. Number two, is Socket.io also used to build, no, not does not to be used to build chatbots for in WhatsApp and Telegram. No, that is now the AI part. They're not being used to do that. Just for communication, not chatting. Now, though it seems like it, but I want to be sure. Does the client side of the Socket.io refer to the front-end side? The front-end and server-side backend, yeah, they also refer. I've showed you how to. They communicate well. I also noticed that app.jsx keep changing its content, but it's always like that, or one can't just go ahead and flow from the beginning by cutting, or you can just rewrite everything. Don't use what they have. Yeah, you can just remain with the import but study it well. For me, I also always remove it because I need to put things that I want to be there. Also, I got lost, a bit lost when I started the server. So I guess the server is still part of the morning session, right? That's the flow of the man stack. No, the server, the point whereby I told you how I showed you everything, I wrote a lot of code there is to make sure that you see how socket IO fits inside the man stack on the backend and front end. Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. Famished. I'm completely famished. Thank you so much. The repo are going to be shared. Wow, wow. I'm very, don't know. But it's been an amazing session. I've seen you have been attentive so much and we have achieved a lot. So next week is going to be a brush through, and so on and so on. So the deadline for the assignment is pushed 1 week. Now the deadline is not today, it's 1 week, next Friday. You can use Shadcn if you want to. It's not compulsory, just to make sure that your work is easier. Mhm. Now, somebody's saying, can you touch on concurrent, please? Now, concurrent, I'm not going to be deeper into that, but this is a powerful utility commonly used in Node.js. And Node.js projects are like to run a couple of like multiple commands in a script simultaneously in one terminal, you see? So when you want to do concurrent, but you're supposed to install it as a dependency. So basically, yeah, as a definition, concurrent, what is concurrently like when you're talking about all of that? In Node.js, this is a package manager that lets a package that lets you run multiple terminal commands in parallel. So it is extremely useful, like when you're doing development, while, for example, you're running Vite, React, or Next.js and backend at the same time. Yeah, it is normally done like that. Like you just want everything, the backend and frontend to run at the same terminal, not the way I've done it. So you can be able to do that. That's the basic definition that I can give you. For example, when you go to packet.json here, you can have that. Then you say, after that, I want, it's normally backtick. I want this one to run. And you can come and say you want maybe npm run client, you see, then and so on. So you can be able to, when you run this one command, the others follow. They run everywhere. That is now what we call concurrently. But now you start with the word concurrently here. You're just trying to tell the server that I want all of this to run at the same time. Uh-huh. The question, thank you. Why use HTTP instead of HTTPS? This protocol will expose. No, we are building it on the localhost. On the localhost, now nobody's going to hack you on localhost. Nobody. That's why you are, when in production, you saw we went to HTTPS. Room ID. No, no, answered this one. Anyway, I've answered close to all the questions now. Because the time is far much gone, I'm going to release you people. And let us talk on the chat. Questions about the LMS, please just fill up the form. The deadline has been pushed forward to 1 week. Yeah. For those people who are wondering how Tailwind can be able to be used, I've shown you how easy it is. Just make sure you follow the documentation. Let me share the repo. So tired, by the way. Don't know why. Anyway, let us get back to this. Let me enable my chat. Been a great session. Welcome to the weekend. Thank you so much. The pin number, I'll pin my number. I'll pin my number. Bye bye. Have a great weekend. We're going to talk soon.